Hi, Days. Welcome back.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I feel like I lived maybe 8 lives since I last.
I know it's only been a couple of weeks since we last recorded. Obviously, we took some time off over the holidays, and I agree. It feels like it's been about a year. It feels like it was forever ago that we last recorded.
I mean, it was a different year,
True.
but it wasn't a year ago. But
No.
energetically, I feel like my 80-year-old self.
Yeah. I mean, how were your holidays?
The holidays were good. There were just a lot of things happening and parents
Mm.
visiting
Yep.
and
Yeah, because you had your parents visiting as well, or your mum visiting as well, didn't
well,
you?
and I know that you went away for Christmas, but you were still technically hosting your American family
I
in the
was.
UK.
Yes, I was. And it was lovely to see them, and it was so nice to have them. We realized it's been a couple years since I've been to London. Like, obviously, they've been here a million times, but it's been a while since they were here being tourists. In fact, I think it was actually pre-COVID that they were last here to be tourists. Because the last time they were here, they were helping me move, so that wasn't like a fun thing. And so like every day was just like doing a new thing, which, sometimes it's fun to be a tourist in your own city, but it was also just meant that we were on the go constantly, constantly.
Oh
So
God, I can't do holidays like that anymore.
no, I know. Me either.
I don't think I was ever very good at being a tourist. I think I was quite good at drinking and going to parties, which I'm terrible at now.
Well, like, some of it was lovely. We went to the Marie Antoinette exhibit at the V&A, which was really cool. We went to the new V&A Storehouse, which I think I told you about, which
I love
was,
the Vienna.
oh my God, it was the new museum for anyone who is visiting London. Go to the V&A Storehouse in the Olympic Park. It is the coolest museum. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's the V&A's storehouse. Like, literally, they've got thousands and thousands and thousands of items that they've put on display that have historically been in their storerooms, including their new David Bowie archive, which is really, really cool. So anyway, so it was lovely. It was great having them here. My flat is definitely too small for 3 people. I have discovered that. It was okay. I mean, my flat's not a bad size for a London flat, but it was too small for 3 people.
3 adults, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But anyway,
Just talking about it is making me tired. Not about your
no,
trip,
I
but just
know.
like, what has happened in the last 2 weeks?
Just family shit and constantly being
And
on the go.
also, like, Bravo isn't on, and
I
I'm glad
know.
it's not because I didn't have the time to watch it, but I'm so grateful it's back now.
Well, I have to say, my mornings were a lot more boring because I didn't have my morning coffee and
Aw.
Bravo watch. So I was struggling with that a little bit. But we are back. We are busier than ever. We are just going to be talking about Southern Charm today because we're a little time constraint. We've got a little time constraint. But I mean, apart from Southern Charm, obviously we've had the Salt Lake City finale and we're getting ready to go into the reunion. We're coming into the new Below Deck Down Under. You're
Oh my
shaking your
God,
head.
that I am so
I
excited
cannot
about.
wait for
Okay,
new Below Deck Down Under.
you're a Summer House fan. What are you more excited
Ooh.
for, Summer House or New Below Deck?
Summer House. As much as I love Below Deck, Summer House. Yeah, we've got new Summer House coming up. We've got well, everything is back basically. I don't know if you were watching the new Shaws of Sunset.
I've never watched it, but I've watched it on and off for years.
Yeah.
So I know who all the characters are, but I've never committed to a season.
I haven't either, but I was watching the new Valley version of Shaws. And
That would be so great. That is what the Valley's like.
totally. And I really liked MJ on The Traitors, so I thought I'd give it a chance, and I was enjoying it. So I might have to go back and do a watch of Shaws from the start.
I feel like I'm down to sub out Vanderpump, which
I know. No,
I don't know if that's going to like controversial for you because I feel like you committed to the season.
I mean, I'll keep watching it, but I'm struggling with it a little bit as well. I just don't care about any of these people.
Yeah.
And like some of them are
Yeah.
fine, but I like watching them, but I also just have zero emotional attachment to them.
I think they have zero emotional attachment to themselves.
I
And
would
it's
agree with
hard
that.
to, they're not even good unlikable. They're just
Yeah.
like, I feel like we're watching the wait stuff,
Yeah.
which is exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
But it's like, this, who came up with this idea?
It also feels, one of the things that I like about Bravo shows that I don't love about a lot of other reality TV, it's the reason why I can't watch the Netflix reality shows, is they're so scripted. And new VPR feels a little more scripted than other Bravo shows or a little more produced in a way that I don't like.
But I think that's because they aren't bringing it
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah, probably.
But let's not talk about the problems of VPR. That's my fault for bringing it up. I just
We
want to say that I'm thinking about subbing out VPR
go
for Shahs and
for it.
Sunset.
I enjoyed the new Shaws. I think it's gonna be really interesting, and I definitely wanna go back and watch original Shaws now, I think.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for that. I'm
Excellent.
down for a little rewatch. I've since we're going straight into Southern Charm, I have to admit that rewatching Southern Charm while I was off and coming into this season has been amazing. I loved
You
it.
know, it was interesting. It gave you a lot of context that I had completely forgotten about. And actually, let's get right into Southern Charm. They have now started the Southern Charm after show again. I don't understand why they like don't do this from the
Do it
beginning.
halfway
Yeah, it's
through.
so weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, they've started it. And in the after show, Venita was talking about something that you had talked about, which was how she used to ride or die for Craig. Like she defended him when Naomi was being an asshole. And I had completely forgotten about that. So actually, it did help put that, like the issues between them in a little bit more context. And I wish that they had actually talked about that at the start of the show because I think it would have, yeah, it just put things into more context. So that was really interesting.
I don't love Venita, as we know, but I think that they don't put her in enough context so you can either dislike her or ride for her.
Yeah.
And I don't think, I want to start with something else, but just while we're on the conversation of Venita, I purposely did not put her or Sally in my notes today because
Oh,
I was
interesting.
like, I can't be doing that same conversation that
Yeah.
they finally shown the part where Venita is like, he's going to walk you on a leash. And obviously everything that Venita has said is right. And it's really important. I've had it this week with a friend where you've had to say the tough things. But I want to also say that I saw my friend going down this route for maybe 3 months before I said anything because it would have fallen. It just wasn't my place.
Yeah.
It just wasn't my place to tell someone how to live their life. But now that things are coming up and the situation is there, you do have to be willing to say something really hard and have your friend walk away if they don't want to hear it from you, because you can't stay friends with someone once that crunch point happens if you haven't said what's really, because you can't be like, oh, well, we all saw it coming, or oh, that was obviously getting, and they're like, why didn't you say it? But the way Venita,
Yeah.
I don't even believe I was about to say poor Sally.
I know that's the worst part about this situation is she's making me feel bad for Sally and I don't. No, because it's funny. You and I had a catch up earlier this week, which I'm so glad we did because it means that this episode's not going to be 3 hours long. But I had some issues with a friend over the holidays as well. And we were talking a little bit about something similar because this particular individual does something very similar to Sally where she makes really poor decisions again and again and again. And that was one of the things that I was saying is like, I get so frustrated with having the same conversation endlessly, but I let her make those mistakes because she's not going to you can't tell someone what to do. You can give your thoughts and feels on it, but they're going to go ahead and do that anyway. And
well, I totally agree. And also nothing worse than a friend that always wants you to do the heavy lifting for them when they can see a disaster coming. They're falling around, they don't know. And they want you to get them out. It's like, oh my God, pull your fucking big boy, big girl pants up and just sort out. Anyway, hilarious that we're having a conversation about responsibility and accountability while recapping.
I know, Southern Charm.
Southern Charm.
Well, let's start from the beginning. I just had to say, so that first opening scene when Madison is sitting there like directing traffic when they're moving into her new house, and they had Austen's giant teddy that basically went straight in the bin. I can't believe I had forgotten about this because obviously that teddy shows up in at the baby shower. I had one of those. Actually, I don't know if I've ever told you this. So when my parents moved into the house that I grew up in 1983 or whatever it was, when they moved into that house in the attic, there was a giant teddy bear like that, but even bigger. I know, we called him Big Bear. And when they moved out of the house about 15 years ago, they left him there. So he belongs to the house, not to us.
My God, haunted Big Bear.
You know, right? He always sat in a rocking chair in the corner. No, I never saw him show any signs of haunting, but blame my mother for that because she was the one that I don't know what her logic was. And if she listens to this, because I know she listens to this podcast, I don't know why you kept Big Bear. He was creepy as fuck. No one wanted him. And yeah, so really, I think Madison dodged a bullet with that one.
Well, I hope they
I mean, that bear, by the time they moved out of that house, that bear was probably 40 years old. So I mean, I guess they could have donated him. He was huge. He was like 5 feet tall.
Oh, I love things like
know.
that. Well,
Well,
not creepy bear I found in the attic, but like Paddington, who's been turned into a teddy and actually needs to be
yeah, see, that's
kissed by
cute.
some honey to turn into a real bear.
Oh, I love that movie. Anyway, okay, let's move on because we can talk about this endlessly. Craig's business meeting, I thought that the editors were so shady in that scene, but also I 1000% believe that that is what Craig is like in a business meeting where he's just like sucking on a straw, trying to get the last of his iced latte and everyone else is trying to do work. I think that just really showed that he is the face of the operation and not the brains behind it.
I don't know why anybody thought anything else. I
Seriously.
spent my whole career working with talent,
Yep.
and some days they're on, some days they're off, but that's really not their, like, they're the face.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, luckily for me, I was in music, so you actually did work with people that either performed or wrote music. But for Craig, I'm like, yeah, he just, you know, he comments on the pillows and smiles kindly at people at these shows that they have to go, these home shows that they have to go to. And that's all you really want him to do. And unfortunately for everybody else that does the hard work, he gets paid the lion's share.
Yep.
But that's like, there wouldn't be a business without him.
No, there absolutely wouldn't, because it was his idea to make the pillows in the first place. But also, I mean, more credit to Jerry, the silent partner, because Jerry is clearly doing a great job. So, you know, good job, everyone.
Yeah. I'm not upset
No,
about that.
it's more the people that actually believed that Craig was a good businessman, because come on.
But he's also not a bad businessman.
No, he's not
in the sense that he
bad.
lets the clever people do their job and doesn't get in the way.
That is a very good point. And sometimes that is a superpower.
100%. I've worked with a lot of talent that get in their own way, fuck up their own careers, and you're like, how? This person got signed for a lot of money and they still ballsed it right up.
Well, this is actually a good segue into the next thing that I wanted to talk about, because I had a whole section on Randy the butler. And I say butler very loosely because really Randy wants to be a DJ. And this is now the second person this week that wants to be a DJ, because Marcus from VPR also wanted to be a DJ. Obviously, Kyle Cook from Summer House has decided he's a DJ. Meredith Marks from Salt Lake is a DJ. As someone who used to work in the music industry, why does everyone want to be a DJ?
Well, for me, it's just an extension of the PA vibe, which is personal appearance. They'll get paid more. Most people want to be the DJ. They want to play the records, be center of attention, have everyone dance. And when I started in the music industry and I was working with DJs, the whole premise of a DJ is that they're everybody's friend. If you were working with a DJ that didn't want to play their biggest records, didn't want to do the photos, didn't want to hang afterwards, wasn't going to do the shot, you're like, you better make some great music, because that is the only way you're going to keep getting booked. Like, you have to act like everybody's best friend.
I reckon that's why Kyle wants to be a DJ so badly, because it's just an excuse for him to hang out and party and be everyone's best friend, because really that's what
he wants a legitimate reason for being in the club now he's older. I think for Marcus, it's finance. They probably look at a James Kennedy and think, like, this is what it could be like. And before James blew it all up, he had he was about to become a big DJ. I can say this actually, I think it's fine, but I worked on Paulie D when I was
Did you? I don't think I knew that.
And it was worth a lot of money. And I would always, because I worked Europe, it was never worth the same as the amount. Like, he had this huge Vegas residency, and I would be sending these like offers that were really high for Europe, but like they must have just been like, what the fuck is this English girl sending us? And he was always really nice. He still does really well, and he was everyone's friend. For me, he's like the gold standard of reality TV crossing over into the DJ sphere. I would also say that Paris Hilton's another
Oh,
really good
yeah, she's been
example.
a DJ for a long time now.
Well, and that's probably also why people wanna do it. There's some really, really good examples of how good it could be,
Yeah, for sure. But
and it's tons of money.
it is. I remember that from my very brief stint in music. I remember what those numbers were, and that was
Well, you worked with a really big DJ, not the same, like one of the biggest DJs in the world,
yeah, but I also
like
worked with some small shitty ones. Or not shitty, but, like, much smaller ones.
I would say though that because like when you have an act, a big act, even your small shitty ones get some of the glow, and it's just not the same. If they were with a different agent, they just wouldn't have got paid the same money because they didn't get the glow from the big DJ. You're all riding on the
Yeah, that's true.
coattails of the big DJ.
Okay, let's go back to Randy the butler because I'm actually shocked that Patricia has kept him on as a butler because he is truly terrible.
I mean, she must pay peanuts or
He
something.
must be the best fucking bartender in the world because why is she still there must be other butlers out there that you can hire that actually have been trained to know what they're doing rather than this guy who melts his phone in the oven and doesn't know where all the spoons go.
I just think that she probably has a different sort of home help because it must take a
Yeah.
few people to run that
Oh god,
house.
yes.
And, Randall's are more full TV.
The TV butler.
Because I would have thought that just for that evening, she just would have hired an event planner and
Yeah. Well, and we
she
know
has
that
event
I was
planners
gonna say, we know
on
that she does, and she obviously hired a chef, which the food looked amazing. Although I have to say, I don't know what it is, this is such a weird thing that I noticed, but I don't know what it is about Charleston, but, like, food-wise, they seem to be stuck in about 1955 because I saw 2 examples of shrimp cocktails, which I don't think I've seen on TV since watching Mad Men.
I feel like it's very American.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
do order them, like,
Really?
pretty regularly.
I don't know
Yeah.
if I mean, I've had them, but, like, not for a
It's
long
jumbo
time.
shrimp cocktails, not like the fun 1980s or, like, with these tiny little shrimp children and, like, the shredded lettuce in the bottom. It's not that. It's like these jumbo shrimps off the side of, like, a sundae glass with some sauce in the
I
middle.
also feel like Patricia's heyday was probably 1970 something, so, like, she just keeps going back to her
100%.
heyday.
I
I
feel like Whitney's heyday was nice.
That's true, Whitney was probably born in, like, 1965. He is almost 60 years old after all. I don't know if you know this, but I've got a friend from university whose mother is stuck or sorry, mother-in-law is stuck in 1977 or something like that, and all the food she makes is, like, of that era, and every once in a while, my friend will send us a picture of a recipe that her mother-in-law has either made or has, like, provided her with, and they all involve Jello. They all involve, like, mayonnaise, and there's one that's, like, mayonnaise and cottage cheese mixed together. It's the most vile yeah, it's really gross.
Oh, no thanks. But yeah, poor old Randall melting his phone. I think that that isn't just being bad. I feel like he's old and
Yeah,
I
he is
just
old. But I guess
he's
her
getting a bit
other butler
senile.
was her other butler was old
Oh,
as well. I
Michael.
know, R.I.P. Michael.
Just talking about old, I did wanna talk about Marcy, but could we just
Yes.
jump to Whitney's hat?
I was gonna ask if you noticed that. That was on my list.
Tier 1 veteran. I wouldn't be drawing attention to your age. I mean, I know that you
Yeah.
want people to think that you were the first person ever to discover Erewhon and maybe you have shares in it and whatever, but
For those of us who might not know, or for people who might not know, what is Erewhon?
Erewhon is a very fancy, it's actually not that fancy. It's a very nice organic grocery store in Los Angeles, and there's about 7 or 8 of them. And right now, I shop there, not solely, but I only buy my meat from Erewhon because it's cheaper.
Really?
Yeah, if you're buying organic, it's cheaper
Mm.
than Trader Joe's. Well, Vons doesn't even have organic meat, or like a Ralph's doesn't have organic meat. Wild
It's
to
also
me
probably
because you
better
would never
quality
not
as
have an
well.
organic option at Tesco's or
Yeah.
Sainsbury's.
Yeah, totally.
But it's cheaper for organic chicken. Maybe not organic fish, but organic or like freewheeling fish, whatever they're called.
Freewheeling fish.
I've given up trying to buy that stuff because it's so
Yeah,
expensive and it's not really that freewheeling. They're actually just like farmed better than
freewheeling.
like there's a lot of weird things that they say wild caught,
Yes,
freewheeling, whatever it is.
be honest.
But wearing it, and I wear the Ear merch as well, to be honest. I wear the Ear socks when I'm teaching. They're so comfortable. And I have the Ear bag. It's, it's kind of a little bit culty and religious in LA, but the reality is beyond the $22, Hailey Bieber
I was gonna
smoothies.
say they're famous for the
It,
smoothies as well, aren't they?
yeah, famous for the smoothies. Our favorite, Smashing Pumpkins, had a goth smoothie.
Amazing.
I do like to buy like one a month and just try it out. But in general, it's a really affordable, healthy food place, and you can buy lunch there and you can do your grocery shop.
It's hilarious that he is wearing a Erewhon veteran's
Oh,
hat.
I mean, like, you have to take it, like, one up a notch. You couldn't just wear the ordinary
No.
merch. But he's always wearing ridiculous hats. Like, he
Yes.
was wearing the Shellback Tavern hat. He was wearing Jumbo's Clown Room, which is, like, the trendy strip bar. So pre-COVID, that's where everybody in LA would go. I can't imagine even Whitney being in that part of town, like East Hollywood, just to go to Jumbo's Clown Room. Just everything about he's always, like, wearing these little caps to show who he's aligned with, and it's just Ear veteran. I fell off my seat
That
laughing.
whole scene with Molly was so awkward. Whitney is so awkward. Why is he on this show? Just be a producer in the background.
Well, I think he's been filming a lot more. That was one of my
Uh,
notes. Do you think that
I
too?
know.
I
I think
think
that is right because he went through a couple of seasons where he was barely there. He's definitely been
barely
in more
there.
scenes, and he's definitely been more involved with stuff than he's been in a long time. So I don't know what that's all about.
I think maybe they needed to beef it up, and
Mm.
him and Miss Pat are good. Well, I don't want to jump too much around, but I think we'll come to how Miss Pat and Whitney cast new characters and are very
Ooh.
prevalent
Yes, let's definitely
in
talk
it.
about that. But let's save that till the because think I know exactly who you're talking about. But let's talk about that when we get to that scene. Let's go back to the Marcy scene. Why do you think they included that? I thought that was so random because Marcy was on the show, but only for a really brief period of time and very much as a side character.
If I hadn't have just rewatched everything, I wouldn't have remembered cousin
Yeah.
Marcy. And the thing that is like worse about it is Shep hasn't even seen her since
That
her
was
kids were
that
born.
was
So what was the
wild.
point?
I thought it was a little bit because it turned into one of those things where it was like her trying to press him on, "Why aren't you married? Why don't you have kids? Do you want all of these things? Blah, blah, blah." And it felt like that scene was specifically aimed at like showing how behind Shep is. And I'm putting behind in quotes because it's only in the context of Charleston or the South or whatever, where there's this artificial pressure to be married and have kids, etc. But it felt like it was purely that to be like, look, Shep, look what you could have. But instead, you're gallivanting off all around the world doing whatever.
I mean, fingers crossed he doesn't get married. He's completely not ready. He would torture the woman.
Yes.
It takes a certain sort of person to marry Shep, and he is not yet ready to date.
Well, I think you also said it really well on a previous episode where we were talking about this, where he needs someone, and he even says it, where he's like, I want someone who I can go on adventures with. I want someone who will challenge me. And none of the women in Charleston would do that. And yet he's got such pressure. I don't know if it's like Charleston pressure or family pressure or whatever to like do the whole settling down, etc., etc. And that is just so not him.
And some people just are confirmed
Yeah,
bachelors.
totally.
They've had a life of privilege. They don't need to work. They actually don't need to get married. They don't have a biological clock. It's just maybe not a thing.
Yeah, like I have a former colleague who is exactly that. He will never get married, but he's got lady friends, who are great. He's got great taste in lady friends because I've met some of them and they're really cool and really nice. He will never get married, but that's fine. He doesn't need to. Like, he's cool.
Yeah, I don't know why they're. If he couldn't marry Taylor, then
Yeah,
the whole thing isn't right. He would probably end up in a really great relationship, to be honest, if he left Charleston. But
100%.
while he's in that bubble, in that beautiful house that he's just bought, it's just never going to happen because he won't find the right person. And it's not, he needs to be in a non-judgmental environment.
I agree. Okay, let's move on to that scene with Whitner and Craig. I feel like that's the first time they've ever interacted.
I just thought, look, to round this all up, I thought that so many of the scenes this week, including that I'm not into Whitner.
See, I
I've said
quite
that
like him.
before.
I don't feel like he's
I think that I would like to sit next to him at a dinner party. I don't want to watch
I was
him
gonna say,
once
that's
we
exactly what it is. I don't think he's good reality TV because he's not extreme enough, and he's too normal. Like, I think as a normal person, he's great, but not on a reality TV show, especially not this
Yeah.
reality TV show. Although I did hear some gossip about him. Do you wanna hear the gossip?
Yeah, of
Okay,
course.
so I guess on Watch What Happens Live, Sally said something a little shady about him, and one of the other Bravo podcasts that I listened to mentioned something about it, and he reached out to them and was like, "I just wanna clear the air a little bit." Basically, the reason his fiancée left him was apparently because she left him for a colleague, someone that she worked with. So, I don't know if what that actually means, but that's apparently what happened in that relationship that he hadn't talked about.
I mean, boring.
I know, I don't disagree. From a reality TV perspective, it's not particularly interesting.
Sure, his beige fiance wasn't going to leave him because she'd found herself or she'd found Christ or something. Of course, she's leaving him for a colleague. Of all the boring things, boring places that you could meet someone else, like, of course, it's just so. Meh. And I actually don't think that that needs to be out there. All that that does for me is confirm that he's boring. I'm really glad that he didn't bring it up because I had longer to think he wasn't boring.
Yeah, he's not cut out for this show. Or he's not cut out for reality TV, unfortunately. I just want to talk about Craig and his obsession with ChatGPT because please don't, like, this is just a general plea to the general public. Please don't use ChatGPT as your therapist or for health advice.
Well, I think that that's a really good point for where we are
Yeah.
in the world because I know that he's not the only
No, I
person
know a number of people.
trying to a
It's
robot.
really bad. It's really like what a lot of people don't know is like OpenAI is being sued for a number of really terrible incidents that we don't need to get into, but like just please don't do it. They use that data. Yeah, it's bad. So he's an idiot, basically. And I say this
Well,
as someone who is a heavy AI user. Obviously, I have a whole podcast about AI. Just don't use ChatGPT as a therapist, please.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, the problem that the whole of this season is having is that the original cast aren't talking to each
Yeah.
other. Craig is talking to ChatGPT and being made to talk to Whitner, and everyone's being forced into some sort of narrative with Venita, and the boys who all used to talk to each other aren't talking
Yep.
to each other. So, Austen, no, hold on, I'm always getting them mixed up. Shep's being shipped off to talk to his cousin that he never speaks to. So that gives you no real insight. Old Judgy Marcy, who was the original party girl, lives off her trust fund being like, "Why do you gotta get married? Who cares what you think, lady?" You saying that makes me want to be like, go on, Shep, carry on.
Do you think, because I was thinking about this today, I don't know why I was thinking about this today. I think the cast is too big. There's too many people that we barely get to see. And when we do get to see, like Molly, people that we actually want to see and spend more time with, they're just like an afterthought or they get crammed into a weird scene like the Whitney thing, which just doesn't feel natural. Something with the cast isn't gelling.
I think maybe they're too old.
Yeah.
But like you do hit 40 and you're not hanging out and talking to your friends as much as you were, especially a city like Charleston, and where they're pretty bar Shep they've all got quite successful businesses in their own right. They're people, and Shep travels. That's his. So
Also,
I don't know. I'm pro Southern charm. I want it to figure itself out. But yeah, they might be too old. And the premise of what worked, but the fact that we're still watching Miss Pat's dinners and they're still trying to, introduce new characters in these suppers.
okay, let's move on to the dinner because who is this Steven guy? Why was he here? Is he actually a cast member? He got like a full long introduction, but is he going to keep showing up? Like I was so confused by that as well. That was a really weird addition.
I feel like that's like that moment in Ladies of London, but not Ladies of London, Real Housewives
of
of
London,
London, where they
yes.
tried to like ship in like they were like, oh, the chemistry isn't working here. Let's ship in some new cast members, or like in Love Island where they send in some bombshells.
He's the
I
new
feel like Stephen
bombshell.
is your
He
bombshell.
is the bombshell entering the villa. Yeah, but the thing with, because you're talking about Juliet on Real Housewives of London. She had the Bravo history because she was on the original Ladies of London, but also she then ended up staying and caused some of the biggest drama of the season. Whereas I don't know what's going. I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see, like if this Stephen guy is gonna stick around. But it was just a very random addition.
Well, and who did he replace? Rodrigo's not
Yeah, why
there.
was Rodrigo must not have been able to make it for whatever reason, because he usually is at Patricia's men's dinners.
But that bit not being explained is a weird
Yeah.
thing for me. It does feel like they're testing out. I mean, I get that he's got kids, right? He's
Yes,
married.
he is.
His wife looks a lot older than him, but that could just be the work that she's had. It's a right bitchy thing to say, but
Sometimes work
I
makes you
get
look
it.
older. No, sometimes it ages you.
So was she pretty? It's not that. They're both really attractive and they've got good-looking kids. It's just you'll see when you do a deep dive. But he hasn't got like I
Yeah,
was wondering maybe he's got really big social following. Maybe
maybe.
he's a plastic surgeon and it's
Maybe
like,
he's Patricia's plastic surgeon.
but he's not. And his wife owns like a clothes shop in Charleston.
Oh,
And he's friends with Whitney.
okay.
They're friends in social media land. And I just think that, you know, he's got that fancy backstory. He's got a nice British accent, obviously went to a nice school. And they just want to insert some more posh
We know Patricia loves
into
that.
it.
Patricia loves that sort of shit. So
But that's meant to be Southern
yes, it
charm
is.
in to a certain degree. It's breeding and manners. And then you have Austen before Patricia's dinner eating Chick-fil-A
It's
in
pre
his dress
it is
shirt.
pre-dinner.
In his dress shirt, dipping it in he's got the dip. He's got like the Chick-fil-A dip that you get from Ralph's and Vons. And he's just like having his look, I enjoy a Chick-fil-A every now and again. But it was just like, yeah, I get why you'd want Dr. Stephen in there bragging about how he can afford to break chairs and like just being obnoxious
Oh my
and
God. When
terrible.
they did that montage of everything, of like all the disasters that have occurred at that dinner before, with like Craig spilling wine, Craig breaking the chair, Whitney falling off the chair, it was so funny. And everyone just going, Craig, oh, Craig. It was always Craig. So good.
Well, that's why they can never get,
No.
rid of him. But I think this is the place to bring it all home
Yes.
is Craig and Austen. And my one note on this isn't about Austen not wanting to be in a relationship. That may be what Craig is trying to pin it on and what ChatGPT has allowed him to pin it on. But this is about how poorly Craig treats
Mm.
Austen and Austen really feeling overwhelmed at holding up his boundaries and people being on his side but not being on his side. And what I think as a prediction for the rest of the season is I think people are going to turn on Craig. I mean, they do anyway, don't they? But I feel like they're coming for him.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I would agree with that. There's such a funny relationship. It's such a weird toxic relationship where they like if they were a couple, they'd be that awful couple that's always breaking up and then coming back together and then breaking up, and like there are moments where they're really good together and there are moments when they're awful together and they shouldn't be together, and in the long run they probably shouldn't be together, but obviously it's a friend relationship so it's slightly different, but like there's like some weird deep-seated jealousy. There's just some weird undercurrents going on in that relationship, and it makes for good TV. But like from a friendship perspective, it's really toxic.
Look, nobody would go to By the Way if just Austen owned it.
No.
Old Chick-fil-A eater over there. Nothing wrong with Chick-fil-A. Don't want to get sued here. But in terms of like,
Well,
it
there's a
would be a
lot of things
sport.
wrong with Chick-fil-A. The food might not be one of them.
I think they'd come for us. I think PK would come for us. And there's a whole bunch of people. I'm like, oh my God, these people are going to come for us because saying mean things about them. And they probably deserve it, but they'll still come for you. Nobody would go there just for Austen
No,
or certain,
that's
it
true.
would need to be a sports bar. For Craig, it's a sort of bistro restaurant and more people will come for Craig. The most people will come for Craig and Austen. But Austen isn't as strong without Craig. Craig is fine without Austen, but it's useful for Craig to have him there.
I remember years ago there was a podcast that I used to listen to that was two women, and they'd been friends for a long time, and then they'd started the podcast together, and the podcast got super, super successful. And there's a whole bunch of reasons why I don't listen to that podcast anymore. But I remember at one point they talked about going to couples therapy, like from a business couple perspective almost, or like a friendship counselor. I don't even know what it was. And at the time I didn't really get it, and I totally get it now. And some of that is from just, working with friends, et cetera, et cetera. But they are the sort that would really, because like if they're going to continue to work together, which I don't actually doesn't really sound like they're going to anymore, but they absolutely need to figure out a way forward, because this back and forth, it's been going on for like 3 or 4 seasons now.
And I just also, how Craig feels about Paige and it's being projected onto Austen,
Yep.
which is, you've wasted my time. I wanted to marry you. And he may or may not have bought her a ring, but actually it kind of was Paige's choice to stay. She did not want to get engaged. She
no.
made that very, very clear. And I think at the end of year 1, if she had been a Charleston, like a New York Charleston version of herself, and pushed him for a ring, they would have been engaged.
Yeah, for sure.
And if she had wanted to have a baby before they got married, he would have absolutely done that. So I just feel like for Craig, if he was already a father, he would have Madisoned by now. And either he would be being really nice to everyone because he would have a really he would have got what he wanted, and he'd be, wifed up, kidded up, looking for baby number 3 or whatever. And that would have been a stabilizing force in his life. Right now, he's hurt, angry, and drunk, which is a terrible combination for someone like him.
Yep.
And I think to some degree, I think he's a terrible friend to Austen. I think he's really cruel. And I think that I don't know, it's, to be honest with you, we're not going to get to Salt Lake today, but I don't like watching these heavy fights. I like a good screaming match,
Yeah.
great hilarious arguments. Molly calling Sally, oh, what did she call her at that pod?
I can't remember what she called her, but having fights about.
Did she actually call her a cunt? Did she actually call her?
I think she did. I think she
Yeah,
did. Yeah.
Oh no, she called her a twat, but the twat as like American.
Can we
thing.
just say that drives me insane how Americans
Twat.
pronounce that? Twat. It's not fucking twat. It's a twat. Anyway.
And then Sally being like, I'm sure your vagina's
Oh, yeah.
really nice. That was a funny argument.
I hear you've been talking shit about my vagina. Still is going to be one of the funniest fights ever on Bravo.
Right, exactly. That I like.
Yeah.
That I like. Watching Craig and Austen makes me feel deeply uncomfortable.
I think it's sad. It's sad to watch because we have seen them be really, really good friends. And it's a little like watching a relationship break down in real time. And there's a whole host of reasons. And obviously, what we see is heavily edited and we don't know everything that goes on behind the scenes. But like we did see them when they were really good, and they were there's a reason why the show is about those 3 guys, even though Austen wasn't an original cast member. Like the show has stayed on the air because of those 3 guys. It's always sad when you watch like a friendship breakdown in real time,
Yeah, same with the Meredith stuff. Let's end on this note to round up the podcast. What's your predictions for the rest of the season?
Ooh, my predictions for the rest of the season. I don't actually know. I feel like Craig and Austen are going to keep bouncing back and forth, which is going to get a little boring. Madison's going to have her baby, and so she's just going to vanish off which is obviously great for her, but it means that she's not going to be in the latter part. Yeah, exactly. Which I think is a real shame. You could already see it in this episode, and not having her kind of running commentary does make a difference. Like it was nice to see that running commentary on the after show again, because that felt a little bit more like it needs a narrator, and she's a really good narrator. God, I hope that Venita and Craig just sit down and talk about it. If they had sat down and talked about everything in that first episode, it would have just, I mean, it's not reality TV, but God, it would have made everyone's lives a little less stressful.
Let's come back. Let's put a pin in Venita. Come back to it when there starts to be some resolutions.
What are your predictions?
I honestly don't really have any. I think that maybe I was saying this to you on text, maybe Sally and Austen have some kind of like
Yes, you
dalliance.
said that to me, and I wish you could have seen my face when I saw that because you were like, "Are they together in real time?" And I went, "Whoo! I don't know. I hadn't heard that rumor, but I could totally see it happening."
I think, yeah, I think that Austen and Sally lead the charge for hating on Craig, and the problem with that is it sort of ends Southern charm. Don't do that, everybody. You need to come together. It doesn't work without Craig, and you can put in Dr. Stephen, but he's really annoying. We've got a couple of seasons of getting to know him before
Yeah.
we, love to hate him in the way that we love to hate Craig, and I doubt there's any vulnerability with Dr.
No.
Stephen. I don't know where this season is going. I feel like they've thrown a lot of red herrings, and I guess really we're going to figure out this. Sally's going to bonk Austen. Austen's going to hate on Craig. Austen's going to come out on top. I think that could be
Yeah.
the season.
Will Charlie and Craig get together? Probably not, because I don't think they're together
I
in
don't
real
think
time.
so.
Yeah, all very interesting. Well, we shall see. We'll look forward to discussing next week episode when it sounds like Craig and Charlie go on a boat and oyster date, which sounds like truly the worst combination known to mankind.
Yeah, I also like a bit quick on old Charlie for throwing Sally under the under the bus. I mean, Sally, get it together. He doesn't fancy you. It's that old adage of he's just not that into you.
Yep. I mean, I think that has been very clear from day
I
one with
don't
that
think she was a
situation.
dog on a leash, though. I think that was a really unkind thing to.
Well, I think yeah, we could talk for another 45 minutes about that whole situation. No, I think there was a possibility of it happening, but I do think she managed to avoid that situation. So, as much as I hate to give her credit, more power to you, Sally. You did not get walked like a dog on a leash.
Oh, you know what? I hate to really defend Crag here, but he actually doesn't sleep
No,
and
that's
use
true.
people.
That is true. Yeah.
If he was all about the boom 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 boom, it would have happened
Yep.
by now.
Yeah, it definitely would have. No, I agree with that. So, who knows?
Oh God, who can say?
Who
Well,
can say? Well, I look forward to discussing this further next week. And until then, I will speak to you
see
later.
ya.
Bye.